Hey everyone, my name is Bryon Howard. I'm a Calgary realtor who has sold an average of a house a week since moving to this great city in 2003. And this is Calgary Living. I'm interviewing Calgary's top performers as it relates to living and lifestyle in our great city. Some of the podcasts will be real estate decision specific, but most will be about life in Calgary and why we choose to live here, or at least why you should visit. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, folks, welcome to another edition of Living in Calgary. Today, I have the great pleasure of having Eric Young on the line. Eric and I met, I think, through Braden Ross. Is that right? How we were originally
That's right.
there? Braden Ross was one of my earlier guests on the show, Mr. Airbnb, who's killing it in a sort of Airbnb arbitrage. Eric's a longtime Calgarian, spent some time on Vancouver Island, and currently has a few interests. I think his principal money earning gig these days is he's a physiotherapist and has been for a long time, but has lots of other interests as well. Eric, welcome to the show. How would you introduce yourself?
I think you probably nailed it right there. Eric's a physiotherapist. I like to crank on knees. I think that's pretty much sums up what I do throughout the week, you know?
And I, and I think
Thanks for having me.
you grew up in Calgary, I believe, and then did your education here, I'm guessing. And then you went to Vancouver Island and was a physio there for many years. And recently, in the last couple of years, returned to Calgary. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. So grew up in Calgary. I actually grew up part of it in Golden, BC. And then we relocated back to Calgary. And then did my undergrad at UC and then my grad school at U of A, but it's in the Calgary campus. So I was still in Calgary, right? The
Didn't know
downtown
that.
U of A campus, yeah. And I practiced for, I think, about 6 months before I started. I picked up little bags and, thought the opportunity was there to go out to try something different. So I went and tried out Vancouver Island for a few years and then came back.
And you in Vancouver Island in Nanaimo, is that right?
That's right, Central Island, yeah.
And you and I had a talk, I think about 6 weeks ago or so. Here we are in towards the latter part, actually, just after the Queen of England's birthday. We're on April 22nd, Earth Day. Happy Earth Day, by the way.
That's right, Happy Earth Day.
And you sold the process. You bought in Nanaimo when you moved out there. It sounds like maybe around 2017,
Yeah.
and then sold. And then when did you move back to Calgary? And you were renting that property since you moved back to Calgary.
Yeah, so I haven't sold that property. It's still renting right now.
Okay.
And then I moved back probably in 2019, January 2019. Yeah,
Oh, so it's been a couple of years.
in a couple of years. It's been a couple of years of readjusting back into Calgary.
Cool. Well, you're a young guy, compared to me. Sounds like you grew up in Golden a little bit. Are your parents entrepreneurs? Tell me, why Golden? Why Calgary?
My parents are immigrants, so there wasn't much opportunity for us. I mean, school didn't really matter whether they were educated in Korea. So they had to sort of start, from scratch and see what they can learn and start learning, different skills. And so we had an opportunity to manage a gas station there called Fast Gas. You know, that really windy highway going down into
The
into
Hill.
sort of the town of Golden. It's the first gas station you hit there. So as a kid, I think I remember, pumping gas, probably not at the right age, but I still did it. And it was quite the experience of watching during the summertime the rush of vehicles coming down the hill and you're freaking out. My dad's like, direct traffic. I was like, I'm 12 years old. Yeah. Yeah, and that
Well,
was the start of it.
you're that Korean family. So we all were a little bit familiar more recently with Netflix. And what is it called? Is it Kim, the grocery store?
Oh, the Kim's Convenience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have another Korean friend, another realtor actually, and he says, "Yeah, that's pretty much my life," kind of thing.
Yeah, it's stereotypes, I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, my parents played into that stereotype pretty well. They had a laundromat, they had grocery stores. My mom still runs a small grocery store out in Cardsland, Alberta here. Yeah,
That's great, fantastic,
mhm.
and cool,
Gas
interesting.
station, you name it.
And so tell me, Eric, I asked you, like, why did you come back to Calgary? Well, tell me a little bit about what most strikes you about Calgary.
Man, I remember back in the day in Calgary, when you live somewhere for a long time period of time, you grew up there, you kind of get sick and tired of it or bored of it. You want something different. You go and try something different. You realize how good you had it. You miss home. You miss home. I think I miss family. So that was one of the big pushes for me to move back. But um, when I returned back, I was like, wow, Calgary's a very good size city, right? It's got everything you need, but it's not as so busy and so big that you just feel disconnected almost, right? Like
Mhm.
Vancouver is a big, big city, right? Um, Calgary is still a decent sized city where I can still, still meet up with your buddies that you knew from back in the day, build new relationships, but you still had all the amenities of a bigger city, like all the restaurants. I was surprised to find so many, restaurants that sort of had different types of food, the art scene, whatnot, right? Because I live in East Village, and there's a lot of different things that happen during the summer times there. So that was a good balance, and never regretted once.
So you did your undergrad, and then you did a graduate school. To become a physiotherapist. You mentioned yourself that you're an immigrant, so a Korean parents. So I imagine they were like tough on you. Did they want you to become a doctor?
So
Like, what's going? Like,
it's the funniest thing ever. Everyone asks me that. Why did you become a physio? Were your Asian parents, A plus wasn't good enough? My parents were very worried about me as far as school goes. I wasn't a very good student as far as even junior high, high school goes. I played hockey, I played basketball. That was my passion. I thought I was going to be a NBA star until I realized I was Asian.
And
Um,
you're probably
that
not
wasn't
5'11", are you? Or are you?
6'2",
Oh, you're 6'2". Oh, wow. Well, you don't look that tall in Zoom, but
but
had a chance then.
yeah, but no, I didn't have the hops. So anyway, I quickly realized that that wasn't obviously going to work out. And so I slacked off for a while until I got a job as a laborer on the Calgary Stampede campgrounds there. And I hated it. I hated it. That's when I started realizing, man, I gotta go to school. I gotta do something about this. So grade 12, grade 11, latter end of it was when I started picking it up. And then university came around and I grinded my gears and went to did okay, did well enough to have options, you know?
Cool. And now that you're delving into the entrepreneurial side of things, tell us a little bit about, so you're a physio right now. Do you want to mention the clinic and how do people see you? And tell us a little bit of some of your other interests in business.
Yeah. So right now I currently work at Lifemark Repsol. So I do all the post-op knees for Dr. Timmerman there, part of what's called the knee team. I mean, still see every other joint or ailments, but at the same time, I think I'm more focused on the knee. Pretty booked up. And then Velocity Injury Medical Clinic here. I'm the only physio here as far as for doing motor vehicle accidents, primarily motor vehicle accidents, but that doesn't, again, we don't discriminate between the different types of injuries.
Interesting. And tell me a little bit about your interest in real estate. I know you have an interest in real estate. Sounds like you made some good decisions in Nanaimo, and we all
Yeah.
know what's happened kind of around not only Nanaimo and Vancouver Island,
World.
currently all over the world right now. So it seems like anyone holding real estate has done well. But tell us about your interest in real estate.
I think my interest in real estate came at a very early age. I think when my parents didn't see a lot of opportunity, I think it was, what was it? Back in the day when there was a bit of a boom there. What was it,
2007.
right? And so,
And then again, 2014, yeah,
yeah,
13,
2014,
14.
around
Yeah.
that time. And so what happened was my parents decided, through word of mouth, that it'd be a good time to sort of buy a piece of land. And so we bought 55 acres outside of Calgary called or what's it called? Horse Creek Road. I remember it. 55 acres, man. That piece of land was, I don't think I remember walking that land once the time that we lived there. Anyways, we stretched ourselves pretty thin to get that piece of property there. I mean, I remember commuting to town. It took us a good hour, I think. But that worked out well for us as far as how much we were able to gain. Through that, we kept on looking into more subdividable land out in Bearspaw, woodland, Lock End Road, and we had a good friend of ours, is a realtor. I don't know if you know Jerry Newstater.
Oh,
He lives now, yeah, yeah. So we would talk with him a lot, and just being around that environment as a young adult, or even when I was 15 years old or something like that, was an eye-opening experience to something that you never knew, that land and real estate could hold such value. I mean, you could also lose a ton of money too. I'm not saying you buy and you win. Real estate is you win some, you gain some type of thing, right? It all
Yeah.
depends on the perfect opportune time, right? So that was a huge interest of mine. It still is to this day. I mean, we can talk all day about this type of stuff, but what other opportunities are there, right? Is it, you and I talked briefly about duplexes and fourplexes, and there's just so much opportunities out there these days that really, if you put your mind to it, you could really earn income through various different routes. And that's what I love about the time that we live in right now, right? It's pretty amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Will you sell your Nanaimo property, or what's your plan with that? Like understanding real estate, understanding what's happening on Vancouver Island. What's your plan with your Nanaimo property
That
currently?
is a tough call because real estate is doing so well right
Mhm.
now. But on the flip side, it could do really poorly in the next year or two, depending on interest rates, depending on, it's all speculation as far as what the Bank of Canada is going to do as far as their interest rate, right? I
Mhm.
read an article about how they might hike it up next year near the end of the next year, right? But who knows whether or not that's going to be enough to deter buyers again, right?
Right.
We always talk about the market crashing, but has it? Hasn't for a long time, right? And so I think I remember speaking with a couple realtors out there that I bought this house from, Rob. Him and I chat, and we talk about how whether or not, the, basically every year it's been about a 15, 20% increase in value.
Since you bought it in
That's right.
2017-ish. Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing, the market there is a bit different from here because it's a retirement area.
Mhm.
People go there because of the milder climates. People go there because it's smaller, right? And the ocean's there, right? And so a lot of people from Vancouver are relocating to the island,
Mhm.
right? They're cashing out from their multi-million dollar homes that they had, right? And moving down there, or people from Saskatchewan, Alberta for that matter, right? And so it's gonna be an area that's gonna be desirable, but it depends, right? What are my goals right now, right? If I offload it, I hope that I find another opportunity that's going to be able to give me that at least 10% return, because I could make that 10% if I leave it as is. Potentially. This is all speculation, this is all
Yeah.
talk. But it all depends on what sort of opportunities I'm seeking right now. So, I'm always thinking about different opportunities, right? Because
Mhm.
physio is physio. I love the career. I love the job, but I like having these different opportunities and kind of seeing where it takes me, right?
I talk a little bit about, immigration, immigrants. I mean, I'm an immigrant to this country when my forefathers moved from Scotland to the east coast of Canada in the late 1800s. And
Yeah.
I immigrated myself, my family, my kids, and I immigrated to Calgary in
Yeah.
2003.
Yeah.
Like in some ways, right? I
Yeah.
feel like a refugee almost in this province versus where I grew up in Prince Edward Island. Now, you being from Southeast Asia originally in Korea, are you first generation Canadian? Were you born here?
No, I wasn't born here. So I came here when I was 5.
So you're connected to your community. I mean, the Korean community and, Southeast Asia a whole lot more than me for sure. In Vancouver, we understand that, and like, I mean, Western Canada, it seems like Southeast Asians come into our country, I think. Do you have like an opinion? Like your property in Nanaimo and Vancouver Island, and this kind of like heavenly, a lot of Albertans I find want to move to British Columbia. So I'm just wondering, like, should you hang on to that property? My thought is it would be really hard to sell it versus to buy in Calgary. I guess that you're struggling with this yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking, going back and forth about
Yeah.
you sell,
Where can you get the
right?
best return on your investment to sell that
Exactly.
and
It's
be
like,
buying
but
again?
like it all always comes down to whatever sum of money I make off that property, I need to invest it somewhere. And that opportunity, I hope, will be better than what I would be making if I kept it. Right. That's the big question.
Having spent time on Vancouver Island and being Southeast Asian heritage, does everyone in the world want to move to BC? What do you think?
You know what?
And do they want to move to a smaller place like Nanaimo? No, obviously not. But
No, I think a lot of them will love to go to Vancouver, right? Because
Mhm.
there's so many amenities out there, and it's one of the more. Okay, first off, think, Koreans, maybe Chinese, Japanese. They come to Canada to learn English, to have different opportunities, right?
Mhm.
That's one of the main reasons they relocate, right? But when you compare out of all the different types, provinces in terms of climate wise, I think there's probably British Columbia. I think maybe probably has the best climate, right?
Mhm.
But still have a mixture of mountains and the ocean,
Mhm.
right? And so when you put those things together, it's a very highly desirable area is BC.
What about Calgary? Is it a desirable area?
I think Calgary is for sure. I mean, I'm here, right? I
Exactly.
mean, there's a significant Korean population here from what I know. And so
And
I think that it's a very good area for people. The competition just isn't as crazy as places, for instance, like Toronto or Vancouver. Right? And unfortunately, those big cities, those big metropolitan cities have a lot of Koreans in them, which
mhm.
means if you're truly looking for an opportunity to learn English, Calgary's probably better,
Right.
right? Because you can get away in those big cities without having to necessarily learn English and be forced into it either. That's just my honest opinion. That's my personal experience.
And so you're the knee guy. You're really a knee guy, and that's your focusing specialty, but you have entrepreneurial interests. Tell us about that. I mean, you have a business that a recent startup, I believe. Do you want to tell our listeners about that business and
I
how would
mean,
they contact you or go ahead?
yes, there's a lot, right? It could be Airbnbs, trying to manage Airbnbs. We have a cleaning company that can help in-house to sort of manage the properties that might some people are relocating somewhere else, but they don't know whether or not they want to sell their house or keep it, but are afraid about selling too quickly on a whim, then Airbnb might be something that they can look into, right? I mean, when people think about short-term rentals, immediately they think place can be trash, but there's guys like myself or other companies out there that are more than happy to manage it and make sure that that place is kept clean, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's that opportunity, but I'm also in the works of making a healthcare app to make healthcare more accessible, but that's still under wraps type of thing. And I'm going to keep it that way for now until I have a little bit more substance where I can actually get it secured.
Mhm.
Right. But there's lots of things.
Cool. Well, Eric, how do people reach out to you? What's the best way to find you, to connect with you, to reach out, whether they have to fix a knee or whether they want to explore a Airbnb option with you? Or I think you have a cleaning business too. Is this true?
Yeah, that's right. So it's
Mostly
called
commercial
Granite Cleaning.
cleaning.
Yeah. So Airbnb, residential, post construction, move in, move outs, commercial, all of that stuff. I mean, we have staff that's well trained and we have a manager, we have an online booking system to make it a little bit more convenient for a lot of people to utilize, right? So we're a smaller company for sure, but I mean, if you think about any big company that outsource and subcontract to smaller companies, I mean, you really don't know who's walking through the door and cleaning and doing your cleaning for you, right?
Yeah.
But for us, we're a small operation, so we're able to sort of customize and individualize those cleans for anybody's needs, really.
Cool. And so what's the best way for people to find you, get more information?
I mean, they can contact me on Instagram or
What's your
um,
Insta handle?
oh man, I still don't know this one. It's crazy. Second. I'm not a big tech guy, but let me see here. It's Eric YYC PHY for physio. Trying to shorten it, make it look cool, right?
Eric YYCPHY.
HY, yeah,
You can find them on Insta. And what
that's
about an
right.
email or phone number? Is that another way?
Yeah, phone
Like,
number 403-519-5894. And
okay.
then my email address is I still might use my university email. So it's jymoon@ualberta.ca.
No, your last name, it is Young, isn't it?
No, that's my middle name. So
Oh,
as physios, what
mhm.
happens is a lot of people like to add their physios because you have a good amount of connection and interaction with that person because you're dealing with that person's injury, right? And so
Mhm.
people sometimes like to add people on Facebook and social media. And so that can go against college guidelines. So what a lot of physios will do is they'll replace their last name with their middle name.
Wow, it's a very cool name though, Eric Young Moon.
Yeah.
You want to share a little bit about how you came to be named?
No idea. I woke up and that was the name I was given.
Well, I would love to have a name with Young in it and Moon. So,
Nice. You're the moon.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
got
cool.
called Sailor Moon a few times, but we don't want to talk about that.
For another episode, at least.
But that's true.
Eric, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I look forward to being in touch with you, keeping connected, and having you on again to see maybe a check-in in a year or so.
Thanks so much for having me. We'll stay in touch.
Eric, over and out. Have a great evening.
Take care. See you guys. Bye.
Bye now.